Physical injury, vaginal injuries. First is head. Head is the heaviest part of the body related with side, led by the muscles of the neck. The brain is enclosed within a strong bony cranium. So most head injuries are not serious, but it depends upon the situation happened. But whatever injuries happen, you should get medical help if you have any symptoms after a head injury. However, scalp consists of hairy skin once subcutaneous tissues. And even the scalp get injured, brain function can be temporarily impaired, and this is sometimes referred as concussion. This can lead to difficulties such as headaches, dizziness, fatigue, depression, irritability, and memory problems. And since the head injury is the heaviest part of the body. Next is the spinal injury or whiplash injury. This is due to either a hyperflexion or hyperextension of the neck, paraplegia, or quadriplegia issues. If the cord is crushed or damaged. When your spinal get injured, it will affect the parts of your body. It could be weakness in coordination or get paralysis in any part of your body. Numbness, loss of sensation in your hands, finger, feet, or toes. So when your spinal get injured, a lot of parts of the body will get affected. Kay hamok ang part sa body na na-connect sa ato spinal. So, ang spinal injury is um once it could dili tanan dili na malihok karazo animo lawas or you will get paralyzed. Next is chest injury. The chest can suffer many types of injury including blunt impact, compression, and penetration, with a sufficient force to impair respiratory movements, and this is called traumatic asphyxia. So when your chest get injured, it interfere with breathing or circulation can be serious. And this can be painful and can stop from taking deep breath. So ma-change an imo breathing or it is a life-threatening when your chest get injured. So next is the abdominal injury. Abdominal injury, the abdomen is prone to blunt and stabbing injuries. Most trauma is applied directly to the anterior abdominal wall. So abdominal injury, when your abdomen get injured, like long diri is stab, it happened when stabbing injuries or when your abdomen get injured, intestinal damage, and even bowel perforation can occur. It includes tenderness or the pain that is felt to the area, change in bowel function or blooding and temperature or blood pressure will change. So next is the injuries. Cutting and stabbing to the neck is seen as suicide and homicide. So neck injuries, when it is commonly happen in suicide or homicide, like maghikog, o gamit ng rope na gamiton na mag cause nan cutting sa ato neck or any symptom kanang makita nato sa when we get suicide. And neck injuries is it can lead into death and make your um and make you stop taking breath and even also the cut throat. is most commonly suicidal, and the characteristic feature is selective tentative decisions. So it has the same outcome na suicidal happen like the neck injuries using any kind of um, ties or rope na may tabo sa suicide. So next is homicidal cut are deeper. There may be multiple homicidal slashes. So it is the injuries that are over the front of by sharp instrument using knife or long blade cause at least one. So homicidal cut or deeper is kanang magamit ng mga pointed things or sharp things na magkakos ng deep wound ato tiog. Next is
So thank you, Miss Arnido. So my part would be the wound and the examination of wound. So let us define wound. Wound is a break or solution in the continuity of the skin or tissues of the living body. So it is a rapid onset of injury that involves an open wound and a closed wound. So when we say an open wound, it involves lacerated or punctured, whereas the closed wound it could be through bruise or contusion. The vital reaction. It is the sum total of all reactions of tissues or organs to physical injury or trauma. Vital reactions are local reactions of tissues at the site of damage. Vitality and wound healing or wound age estimation are phenomena which are closely related to each other. Then, the wound damage. Damage to the tissues of the body caused by mechanical force. So example of this includes beating, punching, kicking, beating, knifing, strangling, and injury from vehicles and mechanics, but it includes injury or damage from heat, cold, electricity, poisons, and corrosives. Now let's talk about the examinations of wounds. This includes the abrasion, the bruise or contusion, laceration, incise, slash, and stab. So first is the abrasion. Type of open wound. The most superficial types of injury is called scratch or graze. Most common cause is falling to the ground with sliding motion. So abrasion, sa Tagalog is galos. This type of open wound that is caused by skin rubbing against rough surface. For example, an example of this accident, so ma-crash ka sa mga car accident, di ba, it can cause abrasions. Continuity of the skin or tissues of the living body. So it is a rapid onset of injury that involves an open wound and a closed wound. So when we say an open wound, it involves lacerated or punctured, whereas the closed wound it could be through bruise or contusion. The vital reaction. It is the sum total of all reactions of tissues or organs to physical injury or trauma. Vital reactions are local reactions of tissues at the site of damage. Vitality and wound healing or wound age estimation are phenomena which are closely related to each other. Then, the wound damage. Damage to the tissues of the body caused by mechanical force. So example of this includes beating, punching, kicking, beating, knifing, strangling, and injury from vehicles and mechanics, but it includes injury or damage from heat, cold, electricity, poisons, and corrosives. Now let's talk about the examinations of wounds. This includes the abrasion, the bruise or contusion, laceration, incise, slash, and stab. So first is the abrasion. Type of open wound. The most superficial types of injury is called scratch or graze. Most common cause is falling to the ground with sliding motion. So abrasion, sa Tagalog is dalos. This type of open wound that is caused by skin rubbing against rough surface. For example, an example of this accident so ma-crush ka sa mga car accident, di ba, it can cause abrasions. Next, we have bruise or contusions caused by blunt object which is caused by damage to blood vessels and blood leaks to the surrounding tissues. Fresh bruise are dark blue and purple spectrum of color change or bruise of contusion. Blue, brown, green, yellow are finally falling to the normal color. Then bruise and contusions are impossible to inflict on dead body. So, ang bruise or contusion, sa Tagalog is basa. Then, it happens when part of the body is injured and blood from the damaged capillaries. Most bruise form when small blood vessels near skin surface are broken by the impact of blow or injury. So, magkabugon ka doon, for example, kung mahit ka sa mga hard objects, then it can cause your blood vessels or your blood damage from the capillaries. Next, we have the laceration. Laceration, it is a splitting, tearing wound caused by blunt and instrument. So, laceration may be caused by injury with a sharp object or by impact injury from a blunt object or a force. For example, na ang sa imo head, mabagbagan ka or you are hit by force objects such as baseball bat or anything na magkakause ng laceration. Then, incised are sharply cut injuries from razor, knives, broken glass, and metal edge. So it can caused by sharp force trauma, usually by a sharp edge object. So the difference between the incised wound and the laceration is that an incised wound, it is an injury to the skin caused by sharp cutting influence, such as knives, broken glass, or surgeon's scalpel. So incised wounds are sharply cut injuries from razor, knives, broken glass, and metal edge. So, an incise it is caused by sharp force trauma, usually by sharp edge object. Sa Tagalog, ito ay hiwa or ang pagkahiwa. So, the difference between lacerate and incise is that ang laceration, it is caused by a blunt trauma or force trauma. Kung hindi maikukos ng mga hard object, example, ang baseball bat, open wounds. Yeah, so it is both. Whereas an incise, it is caused by sharp trauma or sharp edge objects such as mga knives or anything sharp na magka-sugat ka, so both.
So, features of stab wounds. So, stab is usually slit-like, but after removal of the knife, the center widens and the length becomes shorter. So, it means it's when you remove the knife, the the center becomes widened and the length becomes shorter. So, it becomes short. If the knife is twisted in the wound, a V-shaped wound result. So it will be, if it is twisted, so the V shape can be resulted. And the stab wounds from the close pair of scissors, usually a weapon used by women, leaves a wound like a swallow Z or the conventional sign for a flash of lightning. So, a stab wounds from the close pair is a scissor, mostly commonly used sa women, and it can be sign for a flash of a lightning. So next, so punching. From the word itself, so it consists the blows from a clinch of a fist and directed to at the parts of the body of the victim. So like a like a bully punching his victim, and it becomes and around the eyes the blows cause perial perial beetle hematoma or a black eye. So it may cause a black eye when you bully someone, and that victim will causes the black eye. So bite marks are braided bruises or lacerated injuries from a teeth are most often seen in sexual assault. A bite mark, a pair of curve, or a pushing bruises seen in skin. So it may cause from a sexual assault when a rape comes, a victim may cause a bite marks on the suspect and may pair a curve from bruises to seen in the skin. So in sexual assault, bites most often inflicts on the side of the neck and shoulder and breast. So when it comes to sexual assault, like when a scene of a crime like a rape, and it may inflicted on the neck or shoulder and breast. So kicking, common injury in assault and homicide consists usually of a mixture of abrasion, contusion, and laceration. So from kicking, it it is mixture of abrasion. So from the word itself, abrasion may causes harm from the victim, and laceration a split of its from the kicking of it, from kicking it of its victim. That's all. And next.
So, thank you, Mr. Heraldez. So, let's move on to the special types of wounds. First, we have the pattern wounds. So these are the wounds produced by the shape of an instrument or object reflected on the body. These are the wounds which has a distinct pattern that may reproduce a characteristics of an object that may cause injury. So this wounds has an impact of a weapon on the body, or it has a patterned surface. So sa pasabot ini na wounds is kanang wounds gani na
Small
tungod sa isa
strike.
weapon na ay nalib na na forma or pattern. Example ini is blunt forces injuries,
Amoy ni ang taglaw ni mga bugon-bugo na rason ng mga lamang tagbabaga ng metal, any kuana bugon with wounds. Next is the absence of proof as the period of the offended party, incapacity for labor or for the required medical assistance. Also, when someone committed a slight physical injury, he or she shall be punished by arresto minor when the offender has inflicted physical injuries which shall incapacitate the offended party for labor from 1 to 9 days or shall require medical attendance during same periods. Ang ini sa taglaw gani na magagmay rasta na offenses but still lain sa kaso. Sample zone na black eye, na black eye nagsubag nimo na black eye siya. May rasta na injury so sa gihapon is a kaso. And also maghatag sila ng 1 to 9 days at medical assistance sa victim na gikan sa suspect. Next is the less serious physical injury. A physical injury wherein the offended parties incapacitated for work or require medical attendance for 10 days or more not more than 30 days. Based on the law, the elements of crime of less serious physical injury are that the offenders inflicted physical injuries upon another, also that the physical injuries inflicted either incapacitated the victim for labor for 10 days or more, or the injuries require for more than 30 days. Ini is na-commit ini sila na kuan injury suyod ng 10 days. And also, ang suspect is obligasyon na mo atag medical assistance sa victim na within 30 days. Next is the serious physical injury. An injury where the victim becomes ill and incapacitated for work for more than 90 days, and the injury causes deformity, loss of any parts, and the use thereof. So serious physical injury means that physical injury which creates a substantial risk of death, which causes serious and prolonged disfigurement, prolonged impairment of body, and prolonged loss of impairment of function of any bodily member or organ. So, pasabot ini is zone grabe na to sa kalala or grabe na ka-worst aning sa impact which will lead na death or kanang dugay maka-recover. Thank you.
So thank you, Miss Gillian. And then my topic is all about gunshot wound, the last topic of our report. Well, what is a gunshot wound, by the way? So from the word itself, gunshot wound, ito ay isang uri ng sugat na nakukuha kapag ikaw ay nabaril o nakabaril ng isang tao. So from the itself, makuha na din nato sa pasabot sa gunshot wound. The legal definition of gunshot wound is that it is an open wound by the penetrating power of the projectile and the expansive force of the powder in the cartridge lock. So para mas madali natin maintindihan kung ano ang sabihin ng gunshot wound, let's make a scenario or an example. So for example, ang mga suspect ay nagdadala ng mga baril para sa kanilang proteksyon. Suddenly, dumating ang mga pulis at sa di inaasahan, ang isa sa mga suspect, isa sa mga pulis na ikat sa braso o sa bahagi ng katawan. Ato, ang pulis is maaaring makapatay o ikapatay kapag natamaan sa mga sensitibong bahagi katulad ng ulo at puso ng tao. Then, nangyayari ito kapag kinalabit ang gatilyo or trigger na siyang dahilan ng pagputok at pag-ibig ng pulbura sa loob ng tinatawag nating cartridge machine. Bala. Once na may pagbago ng bala, at ito ang gitawag na gunshot wound. Next, ito ang gitawag na characteristics between gunshot wound, entrance, and exit tip. Pasabot, papasok at palabas na tapak ng bala or samad. So the first characteristic is the size of the wound of entrance is smaller than the missile while the point of the exit is bigger than the missile. So ibig sabihin ay maliit lamang ang sugat papasok kaysa sa balang tumama habang ang palabas ay malaki kaysa sa bala. And number two, the edge of the wound of entrance is rounded while the exit wound is crooked. Ang dulo ng sugat pasok is baliktad o balik as ang pagawas or exit is the same. Palabas ra gihapon ang porma sa iyang samad. Absent in the wound of exit. So, papasok is ito makita ang gitawag nga contusion kulang habang sa palabas is dili na dito makita. So kadalasan rin tinatawag ang contusion kulang na contusion kulang of areola. The shape of the wound of entrance wound is oval, while the exit wound has not been shown. Ang sugat pasok is oval o ringit, ang exit is ang manghugis ng sugat o exact shape. 5. Gunpowder tattooing is present in contact fire near contact fire absent exit absent in the point of exit. And then lastly, number 6, paraffin test. So paraffin test positive. So paraffin test is positive in the point of entrance and negative in the point of exit. So paraffin test is a test in which a paraffin
Tip
gas
is
from the hand
in
grenade
the link.
used in firing a gun is subjected to chemical analysis to determine the presence of powder particles. So sa forensic test, the paraffin test is used or ginagamit to indicate whether a person has recently fired a gun using a hot pin use. So ito ang report